is Charles Meyer, and hopefully you already know, this is another episode of Distilled. Today I'm going to be talking about the Athena Doctrine. How women and the men who think like them will rule the future. Written by two men, John Gerzema and Michael D'Antonio. So let's start, as always, with some themes. Those are change, female over male, don't get too upset, I'll explain that later, and a new currency. So what we have before us is that 59% of millennials around the world, and up to 79% in some Asiatic countries like South Korea and Japan, say that they are dissatisfied with the conduct of men in their country and around the world. They are calling for a time of change. That is a clear majority, over 50%. Next, 66% of people around the world, not millennials, but a global average, has said that they agree that the world would be a better place if more men begun to think and act like women. So, the two authors themselves set out this book by studying three things. The first was they wanted to see how people felt about their world. Were they optimistic or pessimistic? And they found out that 86% of people agreed that there was too much power in the government and large institutions, which has led to new forms of currency, leading away from affluence towards things like influence and knowledge, which we'll see soon. So John Gerzema, one of the authors, manages one of the largest surveyors in the world, the largest brand asset valuator. And they asked 64,000 people from 13 different countries who represent 65% of the world's GDP. 65%. That's a really good indicator of how people feel from those numbers. And they went to 13 different countries, the likes of Brazil, Canada, China, France, India, the United States, and a few others that represented different geographic, cultural, economic levels. They wanted a very clear understanding of how people felt from different parts of the world. And this is what they found. The second part of their studies was that they asked half of those 64,000 people, which is 32,000, to identify 125 different adjectives as either feminine, masculine, or neither. Once they had their answers, they asked the other half of the group, the 32,000, to categorize those 125 adjectives on how successful they would be to things like leadership, morale, success, and happiness. Except this time there was no gender ID. They just wanted to see what qualities were most likely to help those people succeed in those areas. Now what they found was that across the board, the ones that ended up being masculine fell short of all the ones that ended up being feminine. And so we see here, strongly related to leadership. The feminine qualities are all the way on the right side, leading closest to leadership, while the male qualities fall on the left, the furthest away. There are a few that end up being high on the scale, like decisiveness and resilient. Success. Again, we see the same thing. Feminine qualities following strongly related to success, while the males are on the left. Morality. Same thing. And happiness, we see especially true. The males are here down in the bottom left quadrant, while all the feminine are in the top right. That paints a very clear indicator of what we need to do, how we need to do it. Moving forward, a few points are that in 2009, a hedge fund report studied and showed that funds run by women had outperformed funds run by men for 9 consecutive years. 9 consecutive years. In 2012, a Credit Suisse study showed that companies with women board members had outperformed those with all men board members for 6 years consecutively by 26%. Outperformed all men board members by 26%. That's a huge number. That's millions of dollars. Again, in 2012, 4 out of 10 women out-earned their husbands, which is a 50% increase from 20 years ago. 4 out of 10 in 2012. The number of 6-figure earners is increasing for women at 2 times the rate of men. Women, 2 times. Beyond that, more women now enroll and graduate from college with bachelor's and advanced degrees. More developed countries have been shown to be more neutral, yet embracing feminine values, while less developed countries are more masculine in their oriented thinking. It's been shown that as women gain in education, wealth, success, that a nation's well-being rises with it. Beyond that, countries that have shown to have more feminine values in their culture are shown to have a higher reported quality of life and a higher per capita GDP. If we're looking at the data, it shows very clearly that women and those who think like them will rule the future. An incredible book with tons of research put into it, tons of real life stories by entrepreneurs from all over the world, those 13 countries, that show their success stories step by step, how they did it, what they're doing. The biggest things we see are changes coming. Female qualities are rising over masculine qualities because they're more effective and more efficient. A great example is something like empathy. And new currencies are evolving. Rather than monetary, materialistic possessions that show things off, affluence is gone. Influence and relationships and knowledge are rising. Ten key points that were brought up and shown to be the success keys in life are things like humility, an approach to life that allows for listening and learning from others. Connectedness, an ability to form and maintain networks. Candor, a willingness to speak openly and honestly. Patience, recognition that some solutions emerge slowly. Trustworthiness, a track record of strength and character. Empathy, like I said. Openness, flexibility, vulnerability, balance. 10 things all of us can use later on to be more successful in our lives and in business. I hope this information helps you, and I so hope that you pass it along. Thank you for watching.